This how to get thirsty.
Sí. Todas las playeras de los uniformes.
Teofimo Lopez, training alongside Canelo Álvarez ahead of his fight with Shakur Stevenson, immediately shifts the mood of this buildup. It's one of those decisions that makes people stop and pay attention. A major part of that impact comes from Eddy Reynoso being closely involved throughout the process.
7, 8, 9, 10, cambio, vamos. Para el siguiente round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
This move isn't about chasing headlines or snapping photos for social media. This is about real work. It's about sharpening skills inside a gym where Eddy Reynoso's championship standards are firm, demanding, and never flexible.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Sí. Todas las playeras de los uniformes.
Teofimo was very clear that this situation is not a breakup or a coaching overhaul. In his own words, he explained that his father and Eddy Reynoso stayed in constant communication, and together they felt this was the right move. He made it clear he isn't leaving his father at all. In fact, it was his father who encouraged him to train in Canelo's camp. His father was present, fully involved, and supportive the entire time. That detail matters more than people might think.
Un tiempo y arriba. Ándele. Un tiempo arriba, un tiempo abajo. Eso.
Break. Break. Break.
Eso, ya le está doliendo ahí, ahora la metes en medio, güey. Ándele, muy bien. Ahora no le tiras nada. Nomás te sale. Camina. Lo llavé a luz ya.
This isn't Teofimo turning his back on where he came from. It's him building on it. Under Eddy Reynoso's guidance, he's learning how to apply pressure without forcing exchanges, how to stay calm when things get chaotic, and how patience can still lead to real damage. This is high-level mental training, just as much as physical work, shaped by Reynoso's philosophy of control, balance, and efficiency.
Sparred, Shakur? Yeah, absolutely. We sparred, but we only did like 3 rounds, and it was pretty much simple. It wasn't too crazy. Yeah. But
take anything from that? I know it's only 3 rounds, but do you take anything out of that 3 rounds that you shared with Shakur?
it's interesting. Him, I did 3 rounds. Gervonta Davis, I did 3 rounds. Only those 2 guys I ever did like rounds that were so minimal. And but you leave that aura to that fighter so that they always plays in their mind eventually, you know. So
Why did you do only 3 rounds with both of them?
I think that was all they wanted. They were swapping around, so we didn't do too many rounds. Yeah, I think that he was just there preparing for his fight that week. So
You can already sense the purpose behind this decision. Teofimo isn't just training to defeat Shakur. He's preparing for moments when the fight becomes uncomfortable and unpredictable. When a fighter known for explosive power starts adding calmness, timing, and ring intelligence influenced by Eddy Reynoso, that's when the picture becomes much more interesting.
What's it like seeing him now kind of face to face? When you look at him, what do you see? Because obviously you're not locked in just yet, and the closer it gets to a fight, obviously things turn a little bit. But when you do look at Shakur, what do you think of him?
I think I don't think too much of it. You know, I think that he's He believes in himself. That's one thing. But I'm here to destroy his dreams and all that he wants to do and become. You can't take this from me. I worked very hard for it. I've bled for this, and I'm not taking nothing from him, but I just believe that what's gonna happen next is
Right after hearing about Teofimo absorbing knowledge in Canelo's camp, the discussion naturally moves to the bigger picture. This is when you realize how important this moment really is. Listening to Max break it down, it hits you that boxing is actually doing something right here. No dragging things out for 5 years. No waiting for someone to decline. Just two elite fighters meeting while both still believe they represent the future of the sport.
And if Stevenson wants to be on his stick and move game, very difficult style matchup for Teofimo, and maybe not that entertaining to the fans.
Because Stevenson's longer.
Exactly.
Stevenson's defense probably the best in the game,
and
he's longer.
Great reflexes and timing, and so does Teo. That's why he's a great counterpuncher. But Teo's, he's a very special athlete.
Teofimo is a two-division Ring Magazine champion. In both fights where he won the Ring Magazine championship, he was the underdog. 4-1 underdog against Lomachenko. People forget, Lomachenko was taking elite fighters in the lower divisions and they were quitting.
Yes.
He was beating them into some, they were like, I can't do this, right? And Teofimo beat him, right? He outboxed him.
Yeah, he didn't do it by physically imposing himself on him.
He outboxed him, he outfought him, he had speed.
The idea of this fight being a fast-paced chess match fits perfectly. This isn't a sprint, and it's not a stare-down either. Every decision will matter. Teofimo has shown time and again that he rises on the biggest nights. We've seen it before, when people doubted him, and suddenly he was throwing 100 punches in the final round just to send a message. Shakur, meanwhile, is the calm technician who makes opponents feel like they're losing without fully realizing how it's happening. That's what makes this matchup dangerous. One man thrives in chaos, the other thrives in control, and neither intends to back down.
The thing I like about Teo's style, when you have a guy like Shakur whose defense is that good, and he's not just a guy who's going to hug you, he can box, the easiest thing in the world is just to pick him against everybody.
Right.
Yes.
But Teo also has the kind of footwork, Malik, where he steps around guys. Sorry. Shakur has more to lose. Yeah. He's the undefeated fighter. He's seen as the eventual pound-for-pound champ, potentially. But Teo has more to win. He has more to gain. So on the one hand, is there an advantage there where Shakur is fighting to protect that perfect record, to protect that kind of sense that he's the next guy? On the other hand, Teo is like he can fight with more abandon against Shakur because there's so much for him to gain. And if he loses, he's lost before. He's lost to...
When Max talks about underdog energy, it's hard not to agree. Teofimo, with nothing to lose, becomes loose, creative, and explosive. But at the same time, Shakur's defense can't be ignored. It's not just smooth, it's disciplined. And discipline usually holds up when the pressure rises. This doesn't feel like empty hype. It feels like two opposing philosophies colliding. One fighter betting on moments, the other betting on margins. Listening to this breakdown doesn't make you more confident in picking a winner. It makes you more excited to watch each round unfold, because this is the kind of fight where the story can change 3 or 4 times before it ends.
See Shakur standing his ground and fighting in the pocket more than people expect.
Do you see him being successful doing that, Doug?
Yeah, I do.
I feel like this fight is a winner's bracket fight from an era, but we're getting it now. When you look at like Tank and Haney and Ryan and this and that, and Shakur and Teofimo and Lomachenko, even though he was older, but there were a whole bunch of really talented guys in and around the weight neighborhood. Yeah. And I feel like these two could have easily been the two when the dust settled left standing, but the dust hasn't settled yet. They're just getting it on.
Yes.
Right? Like, that's what excites.
This is where everything finally clicks. After hearing from analysts, trainers, and insiders, you hear Shakur himself speak and realize this fight didn't need long negotiations or promotional drama. It happened because two confident fighters picked up the phone and said, "Let's do it." That's real fighter energy. No avoiding matchups. No weight manipulation. No trying to drag someone into unfamiliar territory. Shakur's message was simple. If you want the fight, you meet the opponent where he's strongest. That alone shows he isn't here to play it safe. What stands out is how calmly he describes Teofimo as unpredictable, raw, and dangerous, while still giving him full respect. That's not fear.
Yeah, I'm gonna make him pay for a lot of them things that he said about black people, but at the end of the day, I know he's not racist. I know him deep down inside. He's truly is a cool person. He wants to be great, and this is the type of fight that I really enjoy.
You guys had the press conference last week and the face-to-face and all that stuff. What did you make of his vibe there? The face-off was interesting, and some of the things that he was saying at the press conference was interesting. What did you make of his vibe overall?
I think something mentally wrong with him. I don't think he's like all the way there mentally. I think he's crazy.
Legit?
That's my opinion. Yeah, I think he's legit crazy. I think something really wrong with him, but that's what make him dangerous. I think them the guys is the most dangerous people. Them delusional, crazy people who want to be the best and want their spot at greatness. So I gotta respect it, but I think something.
That's awareness. Shakur isn't talking trash for attention. He's studying the chaos and preparing for it. The New York angle adds flavor without feeling forced. While Teofimo claims the city, Shakur knows exactly whose faces he'll see when the crowd comes alive. This doesn't feel like manufactured rivalry. It feels like two elite fighters who truly believe the other is blocking something historic. When Shakur talks about legacy, about 4 divisions, about thinking in terms of chessboards instead of callouts, it sounds like veteran thinking inside a young fighter. And when he says he doesn't care about who walks out second, it's believable because he's already decided the ring is where everything gets settled. One fighter lives in unpredictability. The other lives in control. When those worlds meet at Madison Square Garden, this isn't a gimmick. It's a statement fight. Confidence without noise. Tension without acting. And that's usually when the real drama shows up on fight night.
Did I tell you that you should be the A-side?
Yeah, he did. He told me that he think that I should be because I'm the bigger name.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
So when you hear senior and junior say things like, that you haven't fought anyone on his level, what is your response to that?
It's cool. I mean, that's their opinion. Like, they could say that. But I know he never fought nobody on my level. Like, I'm 1,000,000% sure that Teo has never seen nobody as good as me in his life.
He's talking about, like, once he gets through you, then he wants Crawford, names like that. How do you think he would do against someone like Terrence at this point?
I think he gets knocked out.
After hearing Shakur speak, with that steady, focused confidence, the conversation shifts toward the business side of boxing. That's when Eddie Hearn steps in and starts addressing the pressure points everyone has been quietly thinking about. Listening to Eddie, it's clear this isn't promotion talk. It's analysis. He's essentially saying Shakur's boxing IQ is elite at the highest level. The kind that makes fights feel frustrating if you're on the wrong side of it. Not flashy, not reckless, just smart enough to keep opponents a step behind. When Eddie compares that level of thinking to the very best minds in boxing, that's respect whether fans enjoy the style or not. But he doesn't dismiss Teofimo either. There's no rewriting history. Beating Lomachenko still matters. Being dangerous still matters.
Do you think it depends on what Teofimo shows up?
Yeah, it always depends on what Teofimo shows up. I think Shakur beats him.
Yeah.
But the weight, again, right? Don't forget, Teofimo's a big 140.
Yeah.
Shakur is probably a small 135, right? Or not really a big 135.
Yeah.
Teofimo's talking about going to 147. So you have a big size disadvantage going into that.
The hesitation in Eddie's voice isn't doubt. It's uncertainty. Teofimo is one of those fighters who never shows up the same way twice. And that unpredictability is the issue. You don't know if you're getting brilliance or frustration. When a fighter like that faces someone as consistent as Shakur, even small mistakes become much bigger under the bright lights. What really stands out is Eddie addressing the size and weight conversation honestly. He acknowledges that Teofimo is bigger, stronger, and more settled physically at 140. And yes, that matters. But fighters like Shakur usually don't lose because of one advantage. They lose when several advantages stack up at once. Eddie isn't saying that's happening yet. He's saying this is where the danger lives. That's why this fight feels awkward, tense and uncomfortable rather than wild and explosive.
Someone like Shakur is only going to get beat when he moves up and loses his advantage necessarily against a much bigger and stronger guy.
Yeah. But do you
I
think
think
that...
that's a fiddly fight, don't you? I mean, I don't expect it to be this firefight.
Yeah.
I think Teofimo's very awkward and Shakur's very smart, and I don't know. I think I don't know how good the fight will be, but I think Shakur is, again, like pound for pound, IQ-wise, I think he's even up there with a Terence.
Teofimo is awkward in his movement and rhythm. Shakur is awkward in how he quietly takes away your options without throwing a high volume of punches. That combination doesn't promise chaos. It promises mental pressure. Eddie casually mentioning that this probably won't be a firefight is a quiet warning to fans expecting non-stop action. This will be about choices, adjustments, and who cracks first. When a promoter who's seen every style imaginable admits he doesn't know what will happen, that isn't weakness. That's honesty. This is not a fight you solve on paper. This is one of those nights where the wrong version of yourself shows up, and suddenly the entire narrative flips. When you step back and look at the full picture, this isn't just a fight announcement. It's a clash of ideas. Teofimo Lopez is sharpening his explosiveness with discipline and learning composure inside chaos. Shakur Stevenson is betting on control, precision, and mental clarity when the pressure is loudest. Different paths, same goal, greatness.
He's got the defensive mastercraft, and he also has the aggressive power to turn your lights out, and I think that's quite different. Do you know what I mean? Like Shakur, I say defensive. I think that's a bit harsh on Shakur, but he's not a huge puncher, but defensively and skill-wise, he's right up there.
He's a real technical fighter.
Oh,
that's why this matchup feels heavy even before the first punch is thrown, because someone's belief system is going to be tested in real time. Now I want to hear from you. How do you see this fight playing out? Do you trust moments over margins or control over chaos? Drop your thoughts in the comments and let's debate it like boxing fans who actually watch the rounds, not just the highlights. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Boxing World. We'll see you in the next one.